Welcome to our first podcast of Suffolk Freemasons, where we explore the work and joy of craft and Royal Art Freemasons. I'm Mark Jepson, your host. Today I have with me...
I'm Jolyon Berry, Provincial Grand Master and the Grand Superintendent.
And I'm John Neal, Provincial Charity Steward.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on our first podcast. Now, Jolyon, is it all right if I call you Jolyon?
Of course it is.
Excellent. So, Jolyon, what are we hoping to achieve? What is the purpose of a podcast?
So, you may be aware that there are already Masonic podcasts. The UGLE have Craftcast, and I recommend anyone to listen to them. They're really, really good. And I was talking to you, and I thought we could do that as well. You agreed, and this is where we are. But essentially, what I hope that we can achieve with these podcasts is that we can reach out to members of our organisation who might be finding it a bit more difficult to come to lodge meetings or chapter meetings, so that they feel engaged and connected with us, but also for a wider audience who might not be Freemasons, who might be just interested in Freemasonry. But whether you're a Mason or non-Mason, hopefully we'll be informing people about what we do and why we do it, therefore educating them. And hopefully, John, we can have a bit of fun along the way and have a bit of entertainment. Because,
I'm your host for this afternoon, but of course you two guys have done a little bit of acting in the past.
Yeah, John and I did a video that was uploaded on one of our websites to promote the launch of our festival.
We did. Smith and Jones.
I can't work out if you were Smith or I was Jones, but we adopted those personas and wrote a bit of a script, which was a lot of fun to write and to perform.
Because I have to say, Jolyon, you look a little bit like Griffiths Jones. Anyway, I hate to say, John, you look a little bit like Mel Smith.
Yes, thank you for that. I had to play the daft one, though, for some reason. I don't know why that was.
Well, they're both daft. The trick is that they're both as daft as each other, but one of them thinks he's clever. Now, don't answer that question.
Because your provincial rank could go
quite downhill.
We're not about that today. So this is about, as you say, educating, informing and entertaining. Now, where do you hope this leads to? Either of you, Jolyon, you can start.
Well, the future of this podcast, I hope that we can have a series of podcasts, whether we have 10 or 6 or 5, I don't know. But either way, we can discuss some Masonic issues of interest and introduce or explore some interesting topics. The Masons among us will know that community engagement is a new and big idea and a deal. It's part of our strategy to engage with the community. So hopefully we can discuss community engagement, and even better, perhaps we can get some of those members of the community that we're working with to come and talk to us about what they think of us, what they know about us, what they want from us, and what their experience of us has been. And who knows, as this evolves, maybe we can get some special guests to meet and to talk to as well. The future's bright. This could take us anywhere. Who knows? This is the beginning of a journey.
That's right. And for me, the communication is really important, because getting information out to our brethren is actually one of the most difficult parts of the job. So, podcasts could be a really good way of getting that information out to our members.
It isn't always the case of saying, we're Masons, come and join us. They see what we do and go, I like that.
I mean, it won't surprise you to work this one out. You may have worked this out for yourselves, but over the last few months since I became Provincial Grand Master, I was somewhat thrown in at the deep end, and I've done more and more thinking about Freemasonry in the last 6 months than I've done the last 6 years. And the more I look into it and the more I investigate it, and the more I think about what we have to do and what we want to do as Freemasons, particularly those of us in Suffolk, the more I realise that everything's connected. And John, what you just said about communications being important, it is, but on so many levels. I mean, you're working really hard to promote the festival, and I'm sure we'll mention that in a minute. I'm working hard with the Assistant Provincial Grand Masters to launch the community engagement project. We've already been working really hard on the membership challenge to get our membership up, and all of those things work better with better communications. And
Because how long have you been? Probably I should know. We went to invested. But how long ago was it?
I was invested on the 3rd of November, so just over 6 months ago.
So it's been quite a busy 6 months or so.
It's been phenomenally busy. Immediately after I was invested as Prince Grand Master and Grand Superintendent, I mean, within days, I was attending Supreme Grand Chapter in London in that wonderful Grand Hall in Freemasons, or their Grand Temple in Freemasons Hall. Quickly thereafter, I started my rounds of official visits to lodges and chapters. We've had bicentenaries, we've had centenaries, we've had the launch of the festival. I've had my own lodge duties. I'm still an active member of my lodge in London and my lodge in Ipswich. We've had...
Well, you've also, because whilst Joan tries to remember everything that he's done, because he's a busy old chap, isn't he? John, yeah, you took on this role as the festival chairman, I suppose.
Yep.
Did you have nothing better to do? Or was it a bit like Joan saying to me, Mark, I'm not tasking you with doing podcasts, but could you have a look at it?
When the job was first muted and offered to me, I was at a meeting, and you may have heard me say this already, but I put my hand up. I didn't actually want the job. I just needed to go to the loo.
Never put your hand up.
Never put my hand up. No, so I got the job. But no, I mean it's an amazing job. I'm so thrilled to have the job. It's an important job, and it's an enjoyable job. You know, getting to see the brethren, going to meet them, collect their checks, and then get to give our money to great charities that really need the money. So it's an excellent job.
It's a great one, but I'm sure I knew you, John, only a few months ago, that you didn't have grey hair.
Actually, John's been a bit modest, saying he didn't really want the job. Whether that's true or not, I don't really care, but he's doing a very good job of it. In fact, you were the first person I had any material conversations with, John, before I became PGM. As soon as I'd been sort of it had been confirmed that I was going to become it, and I know that as early as this time last year, it's May at the moment, so about this time last year, you were already planning the launch of the festival, which didn't happen until March this year. And you know, the work you've done has been fantastic, and you've had great success with the launch of the festival, demonstrated by how much money we've raised today, which I know you won't tell us.
No,
because I understand it's pretty good.
Because one of the things that last time, and there was a huge amount of money raised last time, were the league tables. Now you've taken upon yourself to say, actually, there won't be any league tables. Do you think? I think that might be a good thing this time.
I think it's gone down very well. I mean, KPIs, league tables, KPIs, whatever you want to call them, you know, we have them in business, but we're not a business, you know, we're a hobby. It's a fun organisation, and to be held down to KPIs in lodges, I think, is perhaps not the right route to go. So no, we're all working together to achieve our provincial target, which is 1.5 million. And we'll have lodges that will do really well, and we'll have lodges that will struggle, but we will all help each other, you know, to get to that target. So I think it has gone down very well with the membership.
One of the things that seems to have been really well received, and I bought my festival jewel, is the festival jewel. How do you acquire? Because it's not free. We talk about free and accepted in masonry, but the jewel is not free, is it?
The jewel, actually, you're wrong there. The jewel is actually free. It's the.
You told me that.
You just have to take a direct debit. No, you have to. The jewel itself is free. Where at the last festival we did charge. There was a charge for the jewel, but the idea is that you assign to a direct debit or regular giving or a one-off payment if you prefer, and then you achieve personal patronage, which means you will get that jewel, and they're set at different levels. And it can be spread over the 5 years. It can even be spread longer than the 5 years. So you could potentially just sign up for £2 a month if you wanted, and you can be part of the festival and receive the jewel and wear it.
So the jewel is not
pride.
something you buy. The jewel is something you're given to acknowledge the fact that you're supporting the festival.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what I think what's really nice this time is that you have the choice as to whether you put on how much you are contributing by the 3 or 4 different. You become a steward.
The bars.
The bars.
Yeah.
And I think that's nice that you don't have to put that on.
No, that's right. That's a personal choice. You know, some people have said they don't wish to wear the bar, and others are quite happy to wear the bar. But that's up to you as an individual. You know, if you want to wear the bar.
I think the design of the jewel is inspired, and the fact that it's an image of the sun rising over a sea horizon, and Suffolk being the most easterly point in the British Isles. It's an inspired choice.
I'm going to just check
design.
your geography, gentlemen. Which is the most easterly point of Suffolk? It should be fairly straightforward.
Lowestoft.
Well done.
Oh, thank goodness I got that.
I always say, is it East Point Millennium?
I think it is. Yeah.
It is East Point Millennium. Yeah.
So not only are we informing, we're educating the boys of Suffolk.
Geography is not my strong
No,
point, I must admit.
I knew that one. So I think, as Joni was saying, a good barrister or solicitor never asks a question they don't know the answer to. Well, so in terms of, there's some patronage, but lodges can achieve grand patronage?
Yeah, so there was no lodge targets this time. But obviously, if you've got no lodge targets, then it's very difficult to achieve some sort of patronage because you need a target. So what we decided to do was to set a level that a lodge could receive patronage, and that's a gift or a recognition of what it's given. So we've set that level at whatever they gave at the last festival in 2019. So that enables us to recognise lodges as they hit that number with a gift, which will.
I think what my friend is trying to say is if you give more than you gave last year, you get an extra prize.
That's it.
We like
That's what.
Yeah. Do you get Brucey? Didn't he do well?
Yeah. And that is a secret at this moment in time, but it all will be revealed.
And okay,
Am I just blowing the secret?
You haven't got a blown secret, no.
No, you don't get a Brucey Bones. Marvellous. Now, gift aid is also going to be very important this time as well, isn't it?
Yes, gift aid is, you know, when we think about gift aid, we think about just a few pound on the maybe the £5 we're putting in an envelope, but when we start talking about £1 million of giving, you know, gift aid becomes a really significant amount of money. You know, that's £250,000. So I get quite excited. It's quite sad that I get excited over such things, but it's £250,000 that we're getting for free.
What lodge? Right, every time I sit down at a lodge meeting and you get the little envelope and you fill your name out, you know, your postcode and whatever else, so that we can claim gift aid. What lodge number should I put on the envelope?
You should always put the lodge that you're a member of, and then that money is assigned to the lodge and to you personally. It's some people will put the lodge that they're visiting, but ideally you'd put the lodge number that you are a member of, and then that gets assigned to the right place.
And I think one of the important things is that when people who first, and there'll be hopefully a number of younger members who are joining who have families, work, you know, their finances may not be as flush as they would like it to be. But we're not saying, because Masonry isn't about giving as much money as you can, it's about giving you how much you can afford. So what's the best way, how should they be able to do that in terms of wanting to contribute, being able to afford to do so?
So the best way is really to sign up for a direct debit or a regular giving. And you can go to our festival website where you can just click on the link and sign up. And even if somebody was just to sign up, the minimum amount is £1. So even if they just signed up for £1 a month, we would give them a jewel, you know, and that can be spread over a number of years. And that enables everybody to take part and wear the jewel if they so wish.
Really important point there about the cost of charity and Freemasonry in general, and it can be significant actually. And we are aware of the challenges that so many of us are facing with the cost of living and just the pressures of life at the moment. But many people, especially many of the Freemasons listening, will know that we've got this strategy for Freemasonry that's come down from our head organisation, the United Grand Lodge of England. And they've actually changed one of our core principles from charity to service. So our principles are integrity, friendship, respect, and service, because it's now recognised that it's just as important to measure non-financial donations, effort, grants of labour as much as grants as money. And, you know, you can throw money at a problem, but sometimes what you need is manpower and muscle.
That's right.
There's a bit of a swing. Whilst we have been talking about fundraising, that is in the context that we're also talking about doing more service for our communities. We've mentioned community engagement already, but that is a massively important thing that is not being overlooked throughout this entire festival.
And we will come back to that probably on another podcast about what we can contribute.
I've got some other ideas for a future podcast as well.
You can let me hold you there. How often can you tell the PGM hold it there?
Yeah, I mean,
John, sorry, I just want to go back because there are just a couple of other bits and pieces I thought would be useful just to talk about on the festival. There's the torch and there's this bright tie. Well, not a bright. Well, it is bright tie in some respects.
yeah, I probably have got to make a confession on the tie. But firstly, the torch. I mean, it's a 200-year-old piece of oak which was manufactured, and we have Nick Moulton and Andy Gentle, who's the deputy provincial charity steward, taking it round to the lodges. They have been banned actually this time from wearing lycra. If you remember last time, they were on the bikes, and it wasn't.
People have never been the same.
It wasn't pretty, but it's actually got a nickname already, Torchy. Yes, nicknamed by Martin Lodge.
So
and
what's your vision for the torch, or what's your vision for Torchy then, John?
it's to have a experience travelling around Suffolk, or variety of different ways, maybe boats, planes, animals.
Has it got its own Instagram account?
Yeah, do you know what? It hasn't, not yet. Have you got an Instagram account?
I've got two. I've got Suffolk PGM and I've got Suffolk Megs, MEGS. And I'm having a lot of fun. In fact, next time you're talking in a second, and I can look at my phone, I'm going to take a photograph of us here in one of the meeting rooms in my office, and I'll stick it on one of those accounts soon.
And so the tie.
The confession, yes. So I'm not sure if you're actually aware that the tie has already got a nickname, and our logo has a nickname. The Brethren are calling it.
We need to keep talking.
The pineapple.
Just what Jolien takes the photograph.
The Brethren are calling it the pineapple.
The pineapple.
Yes.
I took the photo.
You did. You did. He took it. I get the impression that Jolien is as eager to take selfies and photographs as I am.
There's a womble behind you in the photograph.
Oh, yeah.
It's in a framed picture of the wall. I keep mentioning the wombles. There's a reason.
Yeah, there is, and I'm going to stop you from mentioning it today. But that's something. If people want to know what the link between the PGM Grand Superintendent is
and Madame Chalet
and Wellington, that'll be for another day. So what other merchandise are people going to be able to purchase over the next 5 years?
So we've tried to keep it fairly simple. We've got gloves, we've got socks, red, black and blue socks. We've got ties, bow ties are on the way, handkerchiefs and a pen.
A pen. So I haven't got a pen here. I have a very nice pen of Thompson, Smith and Puxon.
Your law firm of choice for all commercial and family needs.
Do you do discounts?
I'll probably be charged for the pen.
You probably will be, yes.
But we've had a very nice cup of tea actually in the Thompson, Smith and Puxon mug, which is, I think we're very grateful, aren't we?
We are very grateful.
Let me know if you need a top up.
Right, thank you. And this is why podcasts are so good, because it's a chat, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it should be a chat with a cup of tea and a chocolate shortbread biscuit from Sainsbury's.
Although none of us are dead either, in case we choke on the crust.
No.
We wouldn't want that. So now, is there anything else about the festival that you want to allude to before we talk about something that's happening in June?
The only thing really is what an amazing night we had for the launch. We had 250 brethren, family, friends sitting in the nave having a lovely meal. It was a night that I will probably remember forever.
I bumped into James Long, who's the president of the MCF, a couple of weeks later at one of the quarterly communications, and he came over to tell me what a great time we had. Him and his wife, Lizzie, had gone and seen some of the Suffolk churches after the day. They were really impressed, not just by the event, but also by with our beautiful county. They had a great time, and everyone did who was there. It was a fantastic evening. We had a chap in who turned up. We'd only just initiated into my lodge, Laconic Lodge, literally about a month before. So you had some senior Masons there, right down to the brand new ones.
Yeah, you're right. And also the support that I had from the brethren, you know, my team, the festival team, but also the stewards and everybody who just came out on the day to help and get us set the cathedral up. It really is a joy to be part of Suffolk Freemasonry, and when everybody pulls together like that, it was a very proud day.
Yeah, and a fantastic venue.
Excellent.
Well. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to ask you to say where it's going to be, but I presume you're already thinking about the end of the festival meal somewhere, right?
I hope he is.
Yeah, we are. I mean, the plan.
To give anything away?
Well, it's in our handbook, so I'm not really giving anything away. But the plan is that we have a festival to end the festival. So the plan is, you know, we hit our target and then we have a party, basically.
Well, of course, there's been a number of reunions of bands recently. I mean, I wonder if Jolene could get the Wombles to reform.
I can ask.
You see, that would be fun.
That's an idea.
If I think Blue have recently reformed, which is never a good thing, really. But I'm trying to think which other bands have reformed recently. No.
Now you're asking questions you don't know the answers to.
Yeah.
Breaking your own self-imposed rule.
I feel I should know, but there we go. So, in June, some fool's going to jump out of a plane, Jolene.
Yeah. Well, I didn't volunteer.
No, you didn't. But when we had our little Smith and Jones sketch, we sort of stitched each other up a little bit, didn't we?
We did. So John told me I'd volunteer to jump out of an aeroplane. And to be honest, what a great opportunity. It'll be great fun. I've done it a couple of times before when I was in the army, but in a very different context and not strapped to somebody. So I haven't done proper free fall before. So I'm really looking forward to it greatly. But I've also done in fundraising things that I've done in the past. We've had some success raising money doing fire walking. And there's a chap I know who's got a very successful fire walking business. John said he would do that. In fact, a couple of the other brethren said that they would do it if they're not doing the jumping out of the airplane, but they'll do the firewalk. We can do too much in 1 year, and we don't want to overload people's calendars with adrenaline events after adrenaline events. So watch this space in the future.
As I have to say, it's a slow burner, isn't it?
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, well.
But I'll correct you there. You said John said no. You said John would do the firework.
Well, I said I'd jump out of an aeroplane. Yeah,
because I've done the fixed line parachute jump many years ago, and I've also done a skydive, and I preferred the fixed line because I was in control of the parachute.
Well, can I tell you the way that I jumped out of an aeroplane? I did it 4 times in one day after I'd been on an exercise in Canada. So the year was 1991. I was 20 years old. I was just finished doing tank exercises in Battus, it's called, the training area in Suffolk in Canada and Alberta. And we were in a tiny little Cessna aeroplane, which, if you know, it's got the wing on top of the fuselage with some struts that go from the edges of the wing down to the wheels. And the way that we deployed out of this aeroplane to do our, it was called accelerated freefall training. They open the door, the aeroplane's flying at 10,000 feet. They open the door, there's a loud noise, and then you have to dangle your feet out of the aeroplane, sitting right at the edge with your buttocks right on the edge of the fuselage, put your feet on the wheel, lean out with your hands and hang on to the strut. Then get your backside out of the airplane. So you are literally in a crouching position, looking like you're sort of squatting down with your feet on the wheels and your hand on the wing strut. And then you take your feet off the wheels and you basically end up dangling from the wing strut, being pulled along like you're a streamer, like a bit of ribbon floating on the wing strut. And then you just let go. And when you've let go, then you deploy a parachute. My goodness, that was the most extraordinarily exhausting emotional experience. And being I was a brand new officer in the regiment at the time, and I was the brand new troop leader. So who's going first? It had to be me, so I stuck my hand up. And it took every ounce of self-control to actually do that thing. So actually, I'm hoping that being strapped to a burly parachute instructor and just being rolling out on the side of a bigger aircraft, compared to that, it'll be a doddle. Mind you, that was 35 years ago that I did that, so my tolerance might have changed somewhat since then. But I am genuinely looking forward to it.
We'll see how many grey hairs he's got after
Yeah.
the event. So that's at Beccles Airfield?
Beccles Airfield on the 27th of June.
27th June, we've got over 20 jumping, and Felixstowe Lodges have even persuaded their bar lady to
Yes.
jump.
That's brilliant. That's because they're all too chicken to do it
It
themselves.
is. They're not daft though, are they?
No.
I've got a fundraising page. If you search Jolion's Jump, Jolyon apostrophe S, Jolion's Jump, that'll take you to my gift page.
I do know somebody from Felixstowe who's doing it. I mean, I would have, but I'm on blood flows and, medically, I'm excluded from this trial, as they say, on a certain programme.
And most of us, we're going to have to drive up to Beccles, which is a fair drive. But how are you travelling, Jolien?
Oh, thanks, John. Well, I've got to be in London that evening, and Beccles to London. I've got to be in London at 6 o'clock that evening, so it's a bit of a long trek. So I asked you, I'm going to flick this back on you. I asked you what the timings were because it was going to be a bit tight. And you said, well, actually, I'm flying there from East Bergholt.
Elscombe.
Oh, would you like to come with it?
You are.
I think we're jumping in a light Cessna.
Sid-
And I know how to get out of a Cessna quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to jump in a land when you're right?
Yeah, I should explain. Sid Turner has very kindly offered to fly
You
our
did.
provincial
Sid's
Grand Master. Oh, yes, it's flying. Oh, I wasn't going to tell you till the day, but no, he's very kindly offered to fly you up to Beccles.
Oh, fantastic.
You'll have a
So
great
the
trip.
festival is going to be great fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's about enjoying ourselves.
It already
It's
is great
a
fun.
bit of fun. Yeah,
Definitely.
Buy the ties, buy the pens, buy the socks.
Come to the
bow ties,
events.
Come to the
Yeah.
events. It's going to be great. Now, before we finish, because it's been great fun. After this podcast, what sort of thing are you hoping we're going to? Because I'm not going to invite you to every podcast, Joe. There's other people to talk to.
Yeah, no, quite right. I hope you get around the province and around the edges of the province as well. So, what's in store for the next few weeks or months at this end? Well, we've got the Provincial Grand Lodge coming up. No doubt by the time many people are listening to this, it will be something in the past. Actually, we had, while I mention it, we had Provincial Grand Chapter last week. And I have to give an address. You've been to these things before, so you know. But one of the things that the Provincial Grand Master or the Grand Superintendent does during those ceremonies is it gives a short address to the members there, and pointing out some good things, pointing out the future, and generally giving an address. Now, to practice that address, I learnt it and I delivered it on my mobile phone, which I recorded. And I sent that to our communications officer, Kelvin Avis, and he uploaded it, and it's available to watch on a website near you. I'll let you tell me what it is.
I don't know what it is, but I have seen it.
Well, you can stick it in the blurb under this when this podcast goes up.
Right.
But I'm also going to do the same thing for the address for the Provincial Grand Master. I'll put it online. So any brother who is unable to attend the Provincial Grand Lodge meeting will get an opportunity to see the address, which is I think a significant big part of the day.
That should be good because yes, I have seen it as
You've
well.
seen it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, excuse me. Thank you so much for being part of our first podcast. It's amazing where 30 minutes goes. I think it's been fun.
Can I ask you a question?
You can.
What do you want to do with this podcast?
I think we want to educate, inform, and have fun.
Yeah.
And we won't just have yourselves, provincial people. We're going to have master masons, entered apprentices, fellow craft, to understand how they felt coming in through the different degrees. We're going to talk to the director of ceremonies, secretaries. I mean, who wants to be a secretary? But there are some out there who do. And there's lots of challenges, both in craft and the chapter.
Well, can I just say then, in which case, I picked the right guy when we had that chat, because I said to you, can we do this? And you answered absolutely perfectly, which is the Masonic answer, yes, if I get hold of all the right kit. And then you went away and you got hold of the right kit, and we're sitting in this office talking into what looks like some very professional microphones, and we'll rig up your computer, and you're going to tweak around with the edges of this and publish it online. And I congratulate you for what you've done. And I wish you luck with the podcast. I'm sure it's going to be a great success. And thank you. And I look forward massively to be invited back on another
I
occasion.
like the one that you suggested, 3 PGMs in a room together.
Okay, let's see if we can do
So
it.
the challenge
At least 3.
At
least 3.
And you'll come back and talk to us because as the festival gathers momentum, if it needs gathering, you can come back and update us.
Definitely. Love
So,
to.
gentlemen, for the time being, thank you very much. And we look forward to the next one, which will be coming to a podcast station very soon.